Now the second move of that triple threat situation is called a crossover. And the crossover is strictly just a change of direction. And let me show you exactly the way it should be done. In protecting the basketball, you're jabbing with your right foot, and the defense sometimes react that way, and you want to change your direction. This is what most of the people do that's going to get called for traveling. In jabbing with this right foot, they get so quick, they go this way by moving their left foot, which is your pivot foot. That is traveling in any league. So the correct way to do it is when you jab, now you're going to pick up the same foot that you jabbed with and change directions. And in putting the ball down, good defensive players, if you put the ball out here, have long enough arms. Scottie Pippen, for one, can slap it. Your momentum is going this way and the ball is going that way. Good way to correct that is when you jab, now you change. If you put the ball here, you got protection from your right leg. Your hand should be here protecting the basketball anyway. So now the only way the defense can get to that ball is to go through your arms, go through your legs. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a foul. I say 9 times out of 10 because I could get away with it. But I don't play anymore, so you don't have to worry about that. So, jab step, change the direction this way, putting the ball inside your legs. Now, the good thing about an offensive player is you got to be able to go both ways. If you go one way, now you're limiting your options. The defense is going to read that, and then they become more, I guess, have the advantage to try to limit your options. As an offensive player, you never want to limit your options. So, when you're working on that move to do it this way, also do it that way. So now you can have 2 options. If my man is taking a defensive stance, the thing that I'm looking at right now is he's playing parallel. So now he's playing me to go either way, which is good. Which it also, to me, means all I have to do is give him a nice little fake this way. He's going to think and feel that that's the way I'm going. My change of direction is a little bit better to use when you see a guy with the parallel stance. Mainly because he doesn't know where you're going. So now you have so many options, you just try to use as many options as you can. Now, if he had his right foot forward, that to me is saying, now he wants you to go this way. The last thing I want to do is go where the defense wants me to go. I want to go opposite. So this is when now he takes his step that way. To change of direction means he's got to pick up this foot and open, then slide to keep up to you as an offensive player. That takes more time than you taking that crossover and driving to the hole. So you have the advantage in that sense. Now, if he has his other foot up, this is what I was telling you about being able to go both ways. Now you can do the same thing and attack it this way. You see what I mean? So now he can't limit your options. So you should look, before you take your stance, look how the defense is playing you, and then decide which is your pivot foot, your right foot or your left foot, and then attack. As I said, now you got to be able to shoot it on both sides. And it doesn't change going from that side of the court to this side of the court. Everything are basically the same. You always want to protect the basketball as an offensive player. So if I'm going baseline to shoot my fadeaway, I'm not carrying the ball low, trying to gain up and get momentum. I'm carrying it high so the defense cannot strip at the basketball. So once I carry it, my left, trying to square up my shoulders towards the target, but I'm pushing away from the target itself. Okay? When I go to the right, nothing changes from what happened on the other side. I'm leading with my left, carrying the ball high, pushing off, fading from the basketball. Now, let's do it in quick form so you can see how everything operates. Here, 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 here. All right? It takes a lot of energy from your legs. It takes a lot of loading up from your legs to get the height and the momentum going away from your target, which is not customary how you should shoot a basketball, not fundamentally sound, but yet it's a shot that creates space from your defense. And if you perfect it, it's hard to defend. I'm never scared to do things on the basketball court. Sure, I'm nervous because of the challenges, maybe the events that's happening around the game itself, But once I'm out there in the motion of playing, I have total confidence in my basketball skills, and that's going to get me to be comfortable once the game starts. But once the game started, I am not nervous. Before the game, I could be nervous. I'm pretty much nervous at every game. But once the ball goes up for the jump ball, I think all that nervousness just kind of goes away, and I revert back to things that I've practiced, things that seem to be very routine, and I'm very comfortable in that environment. In my earlier years, I think crossing over, going to my crossover step and the jab step, triple threat situation was one of my favorite moves. And then later in my years, my turn-away fadeaway was probably the move that defenders had a tough time stopping, and it gave me the opportunity to capitalize on the multiple defensive situations and the double teaming that I had to deal with in the later portions of my years. My mental preparations for the game are very different than most. I try to relax myself. I'm a jokester, a prankster, if you want to say it that way. I listen to music, I joke around with the guys, I take my whole mind away from the game itself, and then when the time comes to focus on the game, I focus on my athletic skills and putting it together with the team, and somehow collectively going out and doing our jobs each and every day. I challenge myself to be the best basketball player every moment that I'm playing the game of basketball. And sometimes that means tricking yourself in your mind to say that you can't do this or your weaknesses are here, but yet you still try to work on improving those weaknesses. A lot of people may say, well, Michael Jordan never had weaknesses. Michael Jordan had weaknesses. He just had to dig deep inside himself to figure out what they were and challenge himself to improve those weaknesses. So mentally, I like to challenge myself to go out and play a perfect basketball game. Although I know you can't do that. It's practically impossible to play a perfect game, but that doesn't mean you can't challenge yourself to do that. I really don't understand the physics of jumping and how you increase that. The things that I can say that I did when I was a kid to improve my jumping are very basic things. I used to ride the bicycle a lot. I used to work on jumping. I used to just try to jump and try to dunk. And I guess if you exercise that muscle to that activity, somehow it's going to improve. How much it improves, no one can really dictate who's going to be the greatest leaper of all time or when the next player is going to be a great leaper. But those are the things that if you work on your jumping to some degree, it's going to improve some. Will it maximize your opportunities? No. I think to be a better basketball player, you don't have to jump high. You just have to be smart in how you utilize the skill that you've been given. Now you're working without the basketball. And sometimes that's very important because the defense, you keep the defense moving. If you keep the defense moving, it can't really set up to your progress. So, in moving without the basketball, there's a lot of different ways of doing it. Reggie Miller is a very good example of that, who moves without the basketball, and that's one of his strong talents. So if you have defensive players and you have offensive players setting your screens, here are some correct ways of getting to the basketball with an open shot, squaring up, and shooting the basketball. I'm going to use my friend Fran to be the passer. And what I'm doing is using the defense, working towards the defense, and working with the defense to get myself open. So when I'm coming off a screen, for instance, and we'll let my other friend be my screener, and when I'm coming off the screen, I am now feeling that I'm going to be open. So I'm going to start squaring myself up to get the shot. So as I'm coming off the screen, I see the passer. I'm squaring up with my right foot pivoting, shoulder square to the basket, and then I'm into my shot. All right? So let me show you very quick how that happens. So I'm moving, squaring up, shoot. So the basis of that, when I come off the screen, I'm squaring up, I got my target, she gives me a great pass, I use my right foot, pivoting, bringing my left, my shoulders are towards your target, and now I'm in the same form to some degree as my free throw shot, which is a good form. Now, if the defense starts to cheat, say, if the defense comes here and he goes over the top, then I fade back. Now, it's a different way of setting myself up. Usually, I take the left portion of my foot, square up, balance, and goes toward the target. So let's see if I can do that fast. Defense cheats, use my left, square up, shoot. That's just some ways of getting yourself working without the basketball, getting your balance, and getting the shot off. Then sometimes when you get in that situation, you can't get the shot off, now you work your way into the triple threat situation if you're an offensive player and you're trying to take advantage of the defense. My shooting improved mainly because defenders started to play me differently. Once I created an aggressive driving motion to the basketball, the defenders started to play off of me, which I was forced to take that shot and be effective with that shot. So I started working on it more and more because that's exactly what the defense was giving me. So as an offensive player, sometimes you have to revert back to just taking what the defense is going to give you. You don't always have to force the issue. The defense is going to give you some weak points or some points that you have to attack. And when those points show up, you should attack. And you should attack with confidence that you can, force them to do other things. If the defense is going to give me an offensive shot or jump shot, I should take that shot and force the defense to come out and play me a little bit closer, which opens up other options from an offensive standpoint. I think players are very respectful of my talents, mainly because I try to exert all aspects of my talents. They could not pinpointly say that I can only do one thing, and if they stop that one thing, then they can stop Michael Jordan. That was not what Michael Jordan was all about, and it shouldn't be what you're all about. I think, as I said, if you want to be the complete basketball player, the fear that you put in the opposition is you can do so many things well. If you can do so many things well, then that really enables them not to stop you or contain you or make you do things that you don't want to do. As an offensive player or as a basketball player, you always want to be in control and dictate what you're capable of doing on a basketball court. The more well-rounded you are as a basketball player, offensively and defensively, and have the skill level to be able to perform all the different skills on the basketball court, I promise you, you're going to put fear in your opponent as well. Triple threat. It's basically what it is. You have three options when you're in that stance. You can either shoot the basketball, you can pass the basketball, or you can drive the basketball. And using those three options, I think you should always articulate what the defense is doing to you. And three moves that I try to utilize, and you've seen me use in the years that I played, and I think are very valuable to me, is to attack the defense based on his stance. If I'm attacking, I'm going to use a jab step. And a jab step is a quick step to get the defense to react. And if the defense does not react, then you have a lot of other options that you can go about that. So jab step with your right foot, defense does not react, you go past him, putting the ball here so that the defense cannot get to it.